How's it going, class? Well, we're down to our last speech, and I'm Anthony Figueroa, and I'm here to give you my refutation speech. My speech is going to be on the negative effects that could come with legalizing marijuana. I'll go over three main reasons that I feel it might not be a good idea to legalize marijuana. One reason is because of the negative health effects that it could have on people, smoking marijuana, that is. And secondly, if it gets legalized, it obviously will be more abundant, easier to obtain, and with that comes the fear that more people will use it, especially our youth. So an increased use of the drug within our youth. And the third biggest reason that I want to speak about is there's many people that refer to marijuana as the gateway drug. Gateway meaning it leads to other drugs. So those are the topics or the reasons, the main points that I'd like to give you some information about during my speech. So, regarding the health issues, obviously smoking isn't good for you, whether it's cigarettes or in this case marijuana. So smoking marijuana is going to increase negative health effects like lung disease and heart disease. Those are very obvious. Along with those health effects come other things like being lethargic, not really motivated to do too much. And as far as health effects as well, the THC levels have increased dramatically in marijuana from the 1970s to now, almost increasing from like a 5% levels of THC to around 15% levels of THC in marijuana now. There's even been some research done where there's been some as high as THC levels have been as high as like 30%. So that's a huge increase in THC, therefore making the drug that more potent and possibly that more harmful. My second topic I wanted to discuss was the possibility of marijuana being used more by our youth. It's obvious that if it is legalized, again, anyone would be able to use it. Therefore, the fear of having our kids, our younger generation experimenting more freely with marijuana, that is a definite possibility. And none of us would want that. I preach to my kids every day about, zero tolerance when it comes to drugs. So there is that huge fear that there would be an increased use in the drug from people of all ages, but the biggest concern for me would be our youth. And lastly, the last point that I wanted to make as to why legalizing marijuana may not be in our best interest is because I'm sure you've heard marijuana referred to as the gateway drug, meaning basically that a person who simply starts off by smoking marijuana, there's been a lot of research done, and it has been shown that that same person will go from marijuana to using other more hard, addictive, severe drugs like heroin, cocaine, you name it. So that's something we really need to think about. And speaking of the gateway drug, I can honestly tell you from my opinion, unfortunately, I've had family members who started off only using marijuana, and they went quite a while just using marijuana, nothing else. It's just like a recreational drug. But unfortunately, I've seen too many cases where those same family members, they did end up moving on to harder, worse drugs, and our families were destroyed. Basically, their families were destroyed by the drug, and I do believe that it all started with the use of marijuana. If they would have never started smoking marijuana, I believe in my heart they would have never used any other drugs. That's my opinion, but I can tell you that it has happened to a few of my family members, and it's unfortunate. So I hope you like my speech, and thank you all for a great term. That concludes this speech. Obviously, Dr. Doty, thank you so much. I learned a lot. Best of luck to everybody. Take care.